We have a whole bunch of Kickstarters, though, for our Kickstarter Pickstarter, as we often do. So instead of each of us just picking one, we actually have a whole bunch that we're going to go through.
Right, to go along with, as we said at the top of the video, of maybe splitting up. So now you'll have just one video in case you're curious of some good choices.
So the first one we're going to talk about is called Vinyos. Although it is spelled with an H, it's pronounced like a Y. So this comes from Eagle Griffin Games, and when I first looked at it, it's actually a deluxe version of an older game. When I first looked at it, I looked at the board and the pieces, and I said, this looks very, very similar to Kanban Automotive Revolution. That's because it's the same designer, actually. And the board and pieces look almost identical to that game. And you're building a vineyard. Everybody has their own line label of wine. And throughout the game, you're taking your wine to wine tastings, to competitions. You're deciding whether you want to make red or white. There's weather conditions that you might have to worry about, your crops. Everything you can think of involved in making wine, it's in this game. So
yes.
This is a big, cubular Euro game.
Very interesting, because I know where I actually was born, it was a big wine area in California. And so, I always grew up hearing about, oh, it's better to do this with grapes, or this is the bad weather, this is good weather, and how frankly, a lot of the land, as I grew up, even when I came back to visit, just converted into vineyards, because there was no one else who would move there, so farms would just pop up. So it's very interesting to think of managing that kind of stuff. And there's people who probably enjoy wine, but do they actually know all the other stuff, the behind the scenes stuff?
Yeah, there's kind of a cool
I think is really cool. I mean, I know how you are always a big fan of the behind the scenes stuff for movies. I mean, movies are cool, but going behind the scenes.
But they don't get you drunk.
No, but I think this is very interesting because then it pulls from that, not in a simple just trivia fact way.
Right. It's diving into it full on, which is pretty neat. And obviously Kanban, this guy's got a good track record. This game has been out before, so you may have even played an older version of it. We have not. But that goes for it's like $60 on Kickstarter. It's a big game filled with a lot of pieces.
You should check it out. It pairs nicely with the steak.
Yeah, that's right. What board game do you eat with your Vinyos? Next game this is a much smaller one that I just thought looked pretty cool. It comes from designer Jess Berdahl.
Oh, yeah.
And it is called What Happened to Bendrick? So this is basically a storytelling-ish game, sort of, I'd say, in the vein of something like Gloom, where there's this character named Bendrick, and you're kind of, as players together, narrating his life. And there's a ton of different cards. There's like 500, plus there's, I think, either the stretch goals or add-ons you can get that add even more different cards. And they all have different events that can happen to this guy. And each person goes around playing the weird things. And of course, some of them are humorous and strange and whatever. And depending on what you do, you either give him good memories or bad memories. And your goal at the end of the game is to have more good memories than bad memories.
And of course, I'm sure we'll see what's his name again?
Bendrick.
Bendrick, thank you. What happened to Bendrick? Cthulhu Edition.
Oh God, no. But I thought the artwork is pretty funny, and the Kickstarter video had a very funny British voice narration. And I can't tell you how much this one costs because it's from Denmark and I don't know what kind of currency they're using, so just look it up and make the conversion yourself. But it's a card game, I don't know how much it is.
Probably know it's free!
After that, we have got Ghostel.
Oh yeah, this one is actually about a hotel that is haunted, but you're not playing the guests who check in, you're actually playing the ghosts trying to scare them. Because, a good hotel is one that really scares you out of the place.
That's what I think. That's the only ones.
I think everyone's just jealous of The Shining. That's a standard set for haunted hotels.
After that, people were like, "That's where I want to go." Also, in the video, I feel like they said Ghostel. It's gotta be Ghostel, right?
I don't know. This is the could be going to hostel.
Huh? You may be right. It should be hotel. But that'll be Gostel. Anyway, so the game, it's basically a dice game where you're all ghosts, and as people stay in the room, you're competing to put the higher number on their card to scare them. I think it's kind of like Smash Up-esque, where if you have more dice on there, you get more points as you're going around. So it is competitive, but I think you can kind of work together if there's a really hard to scare human, so you'll split up the points. But yeah, it's a pretty funny theme. I mean, it's a ghost hotel. I like that idea.
No, it's something I know you and I have discussed, the idea of there's been plenty of games taking on the monsters, but maybe, or even the traitor and someone's a monster, which I still think is the humans ganging up on the monster.
Yeah, it's a different
take from the other view. I think it'd be interesting. The only one I've seen who done that is there are Cthulhu games, maybe probably because Cthulhu's been reached into so deep, we have no choice, where people play as the cultists instead of the investigators.
Right.
But I do think classical monsters such as ghosts could use,
They need a boost. They need their place in the spotlight. And we have two more that both come from Eagle Gryphon Games is the big publisher, but these are publishers that we know and like that you'll be familiar with. First one is Thief's Market from Tasty Minstrel. This is cool because it's actually like in the same universe as Harbor and same designer, same artwork style. But whereas this one is you're a bunch of thieves, and basically you roll a bunch of dice on the table, and that's the loot that everyone got. You all robbed a place together, and then you divvy up the loot.
Right.
And you can take whatever you want. Each person in turn gets to choose what they are getting. But instead of taking something from the middle, you can also decide to take what someone else took already, which if you do so, you have to put one of those back in the center. So it becomes this interesting, almost bluffing thing of, do you take what you actually want, or if you think someone else is going to take that, you take what? It also reminds me of in the game Cyclades where there's bidding. It's always like, should I bid on what I want, or if I know someone's going to outbid me on that, you try to
just to
fake
raise
them
it
out.
Right? Yeah.
So that sounds like
it's
fun.
a bluffing game.
And at least in part. And then you can use what you get from this to buy new stuff and upgrade.
So that's it. I mean, we've enjoyed Tasty Minstrel a lot, and I'm guessing, judging by how I know I got Cthulhu Realms, and it actually came with a card to use with Harbor, and I just gave it to you, and we have both enjoyed Harbor. This will probably come with a card for Harbor as well.
Yeah, promos are probably a good bet. Harbor is I assume it'll be a similar, small, fast-paced, fun games. We like Tasty Minstrel; they do good stuff. So this looks pretty cool. It's $17, as you can see, proudly proclaimed in their Kickstarter image. And I'm sure it'll be available also in retail after that because it's already
Gen
funded.
Con, right?
And then finally, the last one comes from Action Phase Games, who did Heroes Wanted.
Yeah, and plenty others too.
Oh, of course, yes. And anyway, it's called Dreamwell. It has art by Tara McPherson, who I don't know what else she did, but they are advertising her, so she must be popular.
Well, I think the art speaks for itself.
It is cool.
I really like the artwork alone. Judging by that first, I think it's very unique and interesting. And I do know when it comes to games, Action Phase does a good job of bringing something really interesting and somewhat new to the table.
Yeah, none of their games are typical. They have at least some kind of a twist on it.
And I mean, I think this game speaks to that.
For sure. I love the concept is you're in like a dream universe.
You pretty much need to find
you need to find your friends.
Yeah.
And basically you get cards that tells you what you need, and there's tiles, and you have to navigate there.
Right, and rotate them and try to make
a path to get there. It's kind of it's a competitive game, so you are, I guess...
Because I only need to find my friends. You're never going to find your
friends.
Yeah,
I think it's a race, I guess. I'm not sure what the win condition is. You're trying to get your friends first or get the most friends, because when you find one, you get a new set, I assume. But it's a funny concept, and the artwork, is really neat. So.
And once again, it's from a publisher who I think...
They've earned enough, they have enough credibility that at this point, if I see them in Kickstarter, I say, oh, it's probably a pretty good game.
Right.
It's probably a safe bet to back them. That one goes for $29 right now. And those are all Kickstarters, so there is a bunch of good ones, and I know coming up soon there's going to be a Sentinels Kickstarter for their final expansion, and also that Walking Dead miniatures game is coming up soon-ish. So that's a few others. So there's some good stuff coming in the future for Kickstarters. Keep an eye out.